This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined by former world title challenger Callum Johnson. Callum, how have you been getting on the last few months?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Good, not bad. It's been a strange few months, hasn't it? But you know what? I said through lockdown, I kind of enjoyed lockdown in a strange kind of way. I was lucky that we live out of the way in the sticks, so we had plenty of kind of space to get out, and we had great weather, so I kind of enjoyed it. And I was doing a lot of good training as well. So the last few months, I've been all right really for me.
Yeah, I remember you said, because we spoke in I think May time, and you said sort of you were in the best training place you've been in. You were sort of doing your runs, you were doing the Wacky Wednesday, all those challenges. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, we thought we might have some fight news. Can you sort of explain what's been going on in terms of the fight news?
Yeah, well, nothing really other than a lot of talk. Obviously there's a lot of talk about me and Buatsi at the minute. But I've still not got a fight day. I'm back in Manchester now. Preparing, so I'm ready if and when I get one. But that's it really. That's all I know. I mean, I know as much as everybody else. There's a lot of talking going about, but nothing's really. There's nothing set in plan yet.
I remember you saying, well, you had that sort of European title shot with Mil Carvin, um, on the table. Has there been any developments with that?
Not really. Yeah, it's been spoke about a couple of times, but it's like it just seems like it's not worth it. I mean, I don't know whether they want to make it happen or they don't want to make it happen, but as it stands at the minute, it's not going to be happening because it's just not worth it. But like you say, I think I'd like to get a fight, just any fight, just get out, 10 round fight, just to get back in and get active again. But I think next year will be a busy, good year, one way or another. Whether it be Joshua Buatsi, whether it be the European, whether it be back in America with the likes of some of the light heavyweights out there. There's Joe Smith Jr., Jesse Hart, people like that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident next year will be a busy, active, good year. But as it stands, I don't really know what's going to be happening. Where we're going to be fighting, who we're going to be fighting in a minute.
So in terms of Mil Carvin, is that just not sort of financially worthwhile?
Yeah, it's not worth it, mate. It's like you say. I don't know if it's because he's not well known but what we obviously we had the fight. It was all confirmed. We agreed the fight. Purses was agreed and everything else. But obviously times have changed, haven't they? And obviously the purse isn't there and things. It's just like it's kind of half impossible to make at the minute, I think.
Hmm. Um, Obviously, Joshua Buatsi has been linked with you a lot since his win over Marco Kalic. First of all, what did you make of Josh's performance?
Like I say, on the positive side, he come through a decent test. He took a few shots. He got hurt, and he passed a good check and he come through and he got the job done. So there, you have to give the kid credit. Did I think it was a great performance? No. Did I see anything that I thought, wow? No. But again, it's hard to judge just off one performance. Um, do I think I can beat him? Yes, but not because of that performance, because I thought that anyway. Do I think it's a tough fight? Yeah, it's still a tough fight, regardless of that performance. So it's definitely, listen, it's at this moment, me and Buatsi are like arguably one of the biggest fights to be made in British boxing outside of AJ and Fury. Um, so I believe it should happen, and I think it will happen. But like I say, it's got to be realistic. It's got to be realistic financially and things like that. Maybe it'd be better when the crowds are back. Maybe there'd be more money there. But as it stands, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon with the kind of figures they're talking about. To be honest.
So has that fight been offered to you since he beat Marco Kalic?
Um, well, kind of. I've had a free fight offer. Buatsi being the third fight. But like you say, it wasn't really a serious offer, so it wasn't really, I couldn't really take it seriously, if I'm honest. But it is, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, as it stands at the minute, I'm keeping myself in shape. I'm getting ready for when the phone does go and I've got a date, and whatever it'll be. But I'll be ready for whoever it is.
How much are you in a rush for that Joshua Buatsi fight? Because as you say, it's a big fight in Britain that people want to see, as is sort of the Anthony Yarde fight. Are you in a rush for this, or can it just happen when it happens?
Listen, it can happen. Like I say, it can happen next week for me. I think the better question is how much are they in a rush for it? I think, if I'm honest, that's what I think personally. I don't think they're in a massive rush for it. Not like the team sort of portrays that they are, but maybe they are. I don't know, but maybe but I think if there was in a rush to make it happen, I think the offer would be a lot better. So we'll see. But I mean, listen, taking off away for Joshua Buatsi, he's a good kid. He's a nice kid. It's nothing personal at the end of the day. He's a great fighter, regardless of his mediocre performance. It doesn't change the fact of how good he is. And hopefully we will have a fight, because I think the public deserve it. The British boxing public deserve it, and I think we both deserve it as British, like I say, the top tier British fighters. We deserve it as well to be a part of an event like that. But like I say, I don't want to be a part of a big fight like that, and it be kind of getting paid like it's just a normal mediocre fight.
I saw some comments. You said that you believe you stop him early, within sort of the first 4 rounds. Why are you so confident of an early stoppage against Buatsi?
I didn't exactly say that. I said on that performance Saturday night, his last performance, I said on that performance, I think I would have stopped him in 3 or 4 rounds. Because he took a lot of shots early on, and the shots he took, if that was me getting them shots off, I don't think he'd stand up. But like I say, I'm sure if we boxed, he would come better than that, better prepared than that, and like I say, I would expect and train for, like I say, a tough 12-round fight as I always do. But like I say, I have my opinions. He'll have his opinions. Other people have their opinions. Opinions they don't really mean nothing. Everyone's got an opinion, and there's a lot of people that think Buatsi will beat me, and there's a lot of people that think I'll beat Buatsi. Does it really matter what people think? No. The only thing that matters is what I think or what he thinks, really. And that's it.
I mean, there's always a lot of talk between sort of Joshua Buatsi, Anthony Yarde. You're also in the mix for that fight. People want to see it, but do you sometimes feel like people talk about the Yarde fight against Buatsi more than yourself?
Yeah, because all it boils down to is the fact of, well, when it's all said and done, Yarde gets promoted, and gets hyped up by BT and Frank Warren and everything else. And Buatsi gets the hype and the promotions by Matchroom and Sky. And I don't, I never have done, So that's why that you see them in the media more, and people talk about them more. It's not because, as Johnny Nelson said, that he thinks I probably don't want to fight them or something like that. It's because I never get the mentions. I never get talked about up until recently, really. I've always been kind of just sort of left in the background. If I'm like, I've had a few injuries, and I've had my time out, but a lot of it I've just been kind of left in the background anyway, and not spoke about or promoted the same and things like that. But that's all right. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not being the golden boy. All that side of things don't bother me. All I want is, if and when the fight happens, I want treating fairly, and I don't want to be treated like the the away opponent, so to speak. You know what I mean? I want to be treated fairly, and that's it.
I mean, Johnny Nelson, since he said the comments he said on Sky about potentially you not wanting to fight him, he's since said that he feels like you should be more vocal about the fight. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, no, not really, because as he said, when should I have been more vocal about it? You know, as I said, from Frank Buglioni to the world title fight, to going back to America, to getting the injury, to then getting the European title fight, and then lockdown. So in that time, where am I supposed to be vocal about Joshua Buatsi? You know, doesn't make sense. You know, I was concentrating on my own thing, and at that time, you know, I was a step above him in terms of titles. I was a British champion. Then I was back on the world scene. Then I was fighting for the European title. So I was concentrating on my own thing. I had no reason to call out Joshua Buatsi. Joshua Buatsi wasn't calling me out at all. You know, my name never comes out of his mouth or Yarde's. So the comment Johnny made, I understand what he's saying, as in like now, yeah, of course. But what he said didn't make sense in my opinion. I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong or what, but where should I have been calling Joshua Buatsi out over that time I just spoke about? I mean, I was concentrating on the European title fight, not Joshua Buatsi. It's only the last couple of weeks since his fight, it's all sort of blew up kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, you know, listen, Joshua Buatsi, Anthony Yarde, myself, we're all fighters. We'll all fight each other at the end of the day. But at the same time, as you know, and as Johnny knows, as everybody knows, it needs to be on a fair kind of ground, if you like. You know what I mean? And it needs to be like, I mean, imagine if Anthony Yarde boxed Joshua Buatsi, they'd want fortunes. I don't want fortunes. I don't want fortunes. Honestly, I'm not bothered what they get. I just want to be happy and feel like I'm being treated fairly. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Anthony Yarde's trainer, Tunde Ajayi, probably about a month ago or so, and he said that the Anthony Yarde and Joshua Buatsi fight isn't big enough yet anyway, and that fight needs to build and build. In terms of yourself fighting one of those two, Eddie Hearn said in the past he doesn't really like putting Matchroom fighters, sort of pitting them against each other. So do you believe that the Anthony Yarde fight, I know it's possible he's fighting Lyndon Arthur, it's looking like, but do you think those two fights are more likely, considering that Eddie Hearn doesn't really want to put the two of you together unless he needs to, the public demands it?
No, I think the Yarde fight would be the harder one to make, because like you say, Eddie and Frank have never worked together yet, have they? I don't think so. That'd be the hardest one to make. But I believe from back when I won the British title, I believe Eddie sent an offer over for me to fight Yarde back then, but they turned it down for their own reasons. But like you say, we can sit and talk all day long about me, Yarde, Buatsi. And until something gets made and signed and serious offers get made, it's that's what it is. It's just talk and hype. And I think sometimes they like to create the talk and the hype just to get everyone talking and which is good at the end of the day. It's good because it builds things. And you know, me and Buatsi fight, say in the summer 2021, it's gives you that 6 months of building, everyone talking about it, the anticipation, and the crowds are back, and you know, hopefully we go and fill the O2. Who knows?
Last sort of one on this. If the crowds don't return, and it's not looking likely for a few more months at least, you said you want to be sort of paid fairly and things like that. Do you think both of you would have to take some sort of cut to make this fight happen if it was to happen next?
Yeah, I'm up, like you say, taking a cut. I don't think they're going to take a cut, because I just, like you say, I think he's a golden boy, and he's under the AJ banner, and you know, but put us on an AJ pay-per-view card, you know, where it's going to sell massive numbers anyway. You know, he's not fighting this year, I've been told, because Joe obviously sent a message back to Eddie saying, you know, we'll have it in December if you want to make it in December on the AJ card, but he's not fighting this year. So maybe next AJ fight, whether April, May time, you know, April, May, June, put it on that AJ on the card if there's no crowds, because the numbers are going to be there for that, you know, and it'll be, I'm sure it'll be a good fight and a reasonable, you know, support fight for the main event.
you mentioned one name, Joe Smith Jr. He had that great win over Eleider Alvarez. I know he's in sort of he's fighting for the world title against the winner of Salamov and Vlasov. But how much does that fight appeal to you against Joe Smith Jr.?
Oh, massively, massively, because, you know, I think that fight, obviously I've got a little bit of a name in America over in the States from my last 2 appearances there. I think the American boxing public, I think that the American TV stations would like to see that fight. It's been spoken about a couple of times before. And I think stylistically it just makes for an all-out war. And I think me and Joe Smith would be a great fight. It's one that I hope does happen down the in the future, because, you know, he seems like he's a nice kid as well. But at the end of the day, you know, I'd like to go in there and have a good fight with him and punch him. And like I say, I'm sure it'd be I think stylistically it just excites me, that fight, me and him. I think we just meet down the middle and let bombs go.
Just away from yourself for a second, you'll just want to come on to a few of your stablemates. Starting with Jose Burton, just fell short in the Golden Contract semi-final with Ricard Bolotniks. Did you get a chance to watch that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched it live, and I thought he started really well. I thought he looked really sharp early on, and then did seem to slow a little bit. But I mean, that fight just kind of leaves you just thinking about the scoring. I think one judge had it. What did he have it? 190, like literally full 10 rounds, and you know, I thought it was a close fight. I mean, I couldn't argue with Bolotniks winning, but I couldn't have argued with Jose winning either. It was a very, very close fight. It was like 5 rounds each. You know what I mean? There was nothing in it, was there, in terms of rounds? I think that round where he got them 2 counts, that was obviously a big turning point. But I don't understand what happened there, because I didn't think standing counts, you know, was a thing in professional boxing. So it's, you know, yeah, the scoring was just shocking. He was never going to win that fight, was he? You know, I think if he'd knocked him out, he'd have got disqualified. So it was, you know, fighting a losing battle.
Joe said to one of my colleagues that he'd look to try and get a rematch because of the scoring. Is that something you'd like to see?
Yeah, because I think Jose's got the beating of that kid without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, I really do. So if he get the rematch, that'd be great, because he could put that one right. Will he get it? I don't know. I mean, he's obviously got the final, hasn't he? And then he's got, if he wins the final, he's going to have his own path then, isn't he? But I say, we'll see. It's hard, you know. Like I say, think back to the Frank Buglioni fight. He was winning on the cards on that fight, and you know, he got stopped, and he always wanted the rematch. He never did get it. And, you know, sometimes it's a horrible game, boxing. It's really not a nice game. You know, sometimes it's just not.
Tasha Jonas, what a fight against Terry Harper. What did you make of that?
Unbelievable fight. It was it stole the whole 4 weeks, didn't it? It stole the month. It was a great fight. I thought she won the fight. At the end, I was sat watching back at home, and I had no doubt. I thought she's got it. Obviously, scored it at a draw. It was, like you say, I don't know. I hope the rematch happens, because I think Tasha deserves it. I think the big majority believe she won the fight by what I see on social media and things like that, and I think she's come out of that smelling the roses, really, and so she should. She deserved it, and hopefully, you know, Sky can push her on now and give her the opportunity she deserves, because she's like me, she hasn't got that long left. And like you say, we need some opportunities to come pretty quick, really.
And how are Callum and Liam doing? Liam Smith had obviously a frustrating period as well for them without any fight news. How are they getting on?
Yeah, like I say, Liam was back in the gym yesterday. He's been away on holiday, I think, with his family. I think he was training out there. Callum's training. He's preparing, like you say, just like myself, you know, for that day to come. And it's one of them. You never know what's happening, or or when the date's coming. But sometimes you've got to stay professional and stay ready, really, for when the phone does go. And we've seen it so many times before. You get that call, oh, can you take this fight in 3 weeks or 4 weeks? And I'm not going to be ready, or you're rushing to get ready, or so I think the case at the minute is just staying ready for when the phone does go.
So we're looking for yourself end of the year in a 10-rounder, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I'd like to. It's been mentioned, but I say I've not heard anything back, so we'll see what happens.
And a bit of nostalgia for you. I saw on your Twitter earlier, you retweeted a post about 10-year anniversary of your Commonwealth gold in Delhi.
Yeah.
What would you remember about that? Does it feel like 10 years ago?
Nah, man, it's scary because it feels like yesterday. It feels like I've closed my eyes and here we are 10 years later. You know what you do? You make a big mistake. I think a lot of people make the mistake. You think you've got forever, and you think time. You just think time. It just passes you by. The days go, the weeks go, the months go, and then the years go, and before you know it, 10 years has gone. And you think, wow, how did that happen? But I think, it's one of them. When I reflect back on that, it's a weird feeling because it's something that I'm obviously so pleased I've done, and so pleased I lived that experience and felt the joy I felt. But at the same time, it kind of puts you on a bit of a downer as well, because you're never going to do it again. I never know I'm going to live that experience ever again in my life. I'll never live that experience again. It was really the best sporting experience of my life, them 3 weeks. But it's nice to have lived it and experienced it, and obviously topped it off with a gold medal.
I'm sure it would, but would a world title sort of eclipse that?
No.
Wow.
No. Because it was the first, that first major achievement, and it was like the closure for me for the amateurs. It was like closing the door on the amateurs, at the pinnacle or whatever. You got the Olympics, obviously, but it was everything for me. And don't get me wrong, I think winning the world title would possibly equal it, but it certainly won't top it.
And since we last spoke, I think you've had a road named after yourself. That's quite
something. Yeah, I did. Yeah. They contacted me. There was a new housing estate being built, obviously where I grew up, and the council and the mayor and everything else, they contacted me and kind of asked, I don't know if they asked for my permission or was just telling me, but basically they was going to name the estate after me because it's where I grew up, and it was on about, like say, all the things I've achieved for Boston, and like say the people that I help and inspire and things like that, because we're only a small town, and without being too harsh on the town, we don't really achieve a great amount of things. And I think it's nice. It's a nice gesture. It's a nice gesture because that's something that I'm very proud of, very humbled by, and it's something that will be there long after I've gone. And my name there, like Callum Johnson Close, it's going to be there for as long as whatever, and people will be talking about it and who he was and why he got it named after him and things like that. So it's good. I'm proud of that, and it was that's something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, so that's really cool. Literally last one. We spoke a bit about Tyson Fury before the last time you came on. Just a quick reaction to the news we've heard in the last few days about this Deontay Wilder fight. Looks like it's off, the third fight. Are you surprised?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't take too much notice on what's going on and what's not. But obviously, I've seen that's not happening. But I'm not really surprised. I'd have been more surprised if it did go ahead, if I'm honest, because I think Tyson Fury at his best, as he's shown, Deontay Wilder's well out of his depth, and why go back over old ground? Obviously it opens up the doors now. The same for the AJ fight. I mean, imagine that, AJ Fury next year, May, June. Me and Buatsi on the undercard.
Mm.
There's that could potentially happen. Who knows?
Well, yeah, that would be quite something as well. Hopefully the crowds would be back for that.
Yeah,
But Callum, thanks for coming on, giving us your time. Hoping
no,
to hear some fight news for yourself soon. And yeah, looks like a fight into the end of the year and then a big 2021.
yeah, I hope so. I hope so. That's all I can do at the minute. Just hope so.
All right.
We've been here before. We've been here before, and it's all gone.
Hmm.
It all goes tits up for me. So we'll see.
Well,
I don't get too excited anymore.
yeah, I'm hoping you do get a big fight, and yeah, well, there are some huge fights, as you say, on available if you can secure them.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
Brilliant. Callum, thanks very much, and hopefully we'll catch up
Cheers.
again. Cheers.
Thanks for having me on.